What's happening, guys? Welcome to The Juice, the serious gambling podcast for the not-so-serious gambler. We are on to the divisional round of the NFL playoffs, coming off of a good NFL wildcard weekend. I am your host. My name is Randy Young, but my Twitter handle is at DWZ Memphis, and I've just gone by Memphis for the last many years. So happy to have you here. Glad you jumped on. Got a big show today. Probably won't be as long. We will not have the Survivor content, but I've got a little Survivor talk all the same. I want to remind you that I host the Dynasty Warzone. That's going to be starting live streamed on Sundays again. We were pre-recorded during the NFL season, just during that time period because of conflicts with other shows, and we didn't really want to stream live during NFL games on Sunday night because people probably want to watch the games more than watch us do a podcast. But now, because of the way the games are structured, we should be able to go live 9:30, 10 p.m. on Sunday. We're going to be doing Dynasty trades and Dynasty players to trade away. So stop by on Sunday night, and I'll tell you all about our new, at least what I'm going to be doing. I don't know if it will be with Player Profiler. My friend Kyle, his name is Kyle Bowser. He's a board certified doctor of physical therapy in New York. He's done some work with my network for a long time. He's our injury guy. He works with pro athletes, some of those that you would know. And he and I have always been intrigued by Survivor. So I talked to him the other day. He and I this year are going to buy or split a Survivor entry. And what we're going to do is we're going to film that vlog style throughout the season as long as we're active. This show could be like 2 weeks. It could be the whole lead up to the art of buying the team and going to Vegas and documenting that. And then 1 week of how we go back and forth with picking and what that looks like. But we're going to do a live actual Circa Survivor contest entry in vlog form. It'll be smaller. It won't be part of a full gambling show. And you'll find that on YouTube somewhere. Just follow me at DWZ Memphis. Be sure to follow Player Profiler on both YouTube and podcast. Same with Dynasty Warzone. That's where this content will be if you're into going on that journey with us. And if you're going into a journey of betting against your fellow bettors, you may want to check out Bet Openly.
Hey, so many ask me, what's wrong with sportsbooks? Why so many of them fail? The answer is simple. They don't innovate. They're just casino sportsbooks on a phone. That's all they've been. There are a few that are doing a good job. We partner with them. Most of them, not so much. Until Bet Openly came along. Bet Openly said, hey, we're going to innovate. We're going to do something groundbreaking. We're going to have peer-to-peer betting in all states, and you pay 1%. When you win, you pay just 1% on your winnings. You heard that right. It's 1%. With code Underworld, you qualify for just that 1% transaction fee on Bet Openly. It gives you ultimate flexibility to set your own lines and browse lines that others have set. Think about it. That's what betting should be, and now that is the reality. BetOpenly.com. The code is Underworld. Check it out.
Of course, big shout out to Bet Openly. They have been with us a majority of the season. Great sponsor for both the Juice and Player Profiler. Please check them out. When you use that promo code, when you sign up, maybe you don't actually play right away, but when you sign up and you use the promo code Underworld, it lets them know that we sent you. So let's get into last week. Let's do a little recap, and then we'll go into this week's picks. Now, I've been hot. I've been on one of my best 3-week runs of the year. Over the last 3 weeks, I'm 11-4 against the spread, and that feels pretty good. I've ran it up to 2 games above 500, 45, 43, and 7, picking almost 100 games. It's 95. Picking almost 100 games against the spread and to be winners feels really good. This is not my full-time profession. My goal was 53% on the season. We can probably get there if we stay hot. Let's review last week. It started off with a loser, but then it got better after that. I had the Browns -2. That was ugly. Joe Flacco I said this on Twitter. That's why you should be following me, because I think I'm funny. I said it was the greatest heel turn since Hulk Hogan. Joe Flacco turned back into Joe Flacco, threw a couple of pick sixes. Brutal. Absolutely brutal. The Browns got blown out, but because they got blown out, I won my next bet. My next bet was the Browns and Texans over 44.5. We got there. That was a winner. I believe, if I remember correctly, it was 45 to something. So the Texans got me there by themselves. And then that freezing cold game in Kansas City, you saw the ice in Andy Reid's mustache. You saw the bewildered look on Mike McDaniel's face. Cold. And the Chiefs and the Dolphins went under 44. The one touchdown Miami scored was all on Tyreek Hill. I mean, Tua underthrows him. He has to go back for it, makes it to the touchdown. Next game, the Rams. So I had the Rams winning this game outright, but in this contest that I'm in, I hope you got in it too. The Rams were +3, and I needed it. They covered the 3. Good for the Lions, good for the city of Detroit, and good for my co-host, Jerry. Now, if you plan on tuning in Sunday Night Live when we do the live stream of the Dynasty Warzone, you might want to double-check Jerry's sobriety, because he is a Lions fan. He'll be watching that Buccaneers and Lions game, and if he's not fit for live streaming, I'll have to potentially go it alone. But the Lions got there, but the Rams covered. And then finally, I had the Buccaneers +3. I leaned toward the Buccaneers winning that game outright, which they did. Man, it just feels like Philadelphia gave up. It was ugly. I think they just wanted that season to end. Congratulations, it did. So to review, I was 4-1, 2 games to the positive for the year on at 95 bets. But this contest gets harder. It was hard in the regular season when I'm trying to pick 5 games against the spread, and there's 12 to 16 games a week. Now I'm down to 4 total games. And good thing is they're adding in the over-unders or the totals, if you want to use that terminology. So I'm going to give it hell again, trying to win this contest at pregame.com. First game I picked this week, I'm taking the Texans and the Ravens over 43.5 points. Just to give you a little insight, the Ravens average scoring 28 points a game. So if the Ravens score 28, I ask, can I get 16 out of Houston? I believe I can. That offense has looked pretty darn good the last few weeks, and the weather, although cold, should be clear, not too windy, not too much precipitation. So I'm going to go the Texans and the Ravens over 43.5. Then on the night game on Saturday, I'm going to take, and I don't love this one, but I have to pick something. Again, I've got very limited supply of things to choose from. I'm going to take the 49ers -9.5. Now, I know the backdoor window is open with Jordan Love in this offense. I just think, and I like Jordan Love. If you've ever followed my Dynasty content at the Dynasty Warzone, you know I've been one of the few in the industry that have been pro to neutral on Jordan Love the majority of his career. I think he's always had talent. Just took a while to become that pro. I don't love Lane almost 10. If it was 10, I wouldn't be on this game. Like I said, I think the back door is open, but I'm going to go ahead and take the 49ers -9.5. Then we're going to go to Sunday. Maybe I'm good luck for Jerry and his Lions. I'm going to take the Buccaneers +6.5. If the Lions win this game, I don't see them winning it by a touchdown. Baker and the offense in Tampa Bay has looked better. And there was a Baker prop in this game that I almost played later in the show. It was Baker Mayfield over or under 35.5 pass attempts. And when I first saw it, as I was doing my research from the show, I was like, well, let me get my wallet. I'll take the rubber band off and we'll bet all of it. And then I looked. The last 2 games, the final week of the regular season, and then last week in the playoffs, Baker's thrown the ball 36 times. And it's indoors. And Detroit is really, really good against the rush. I also looked at a Rachaad White under rushing yards prop. I believe it was under 54.5. But just a game that I was not going to delve into from the player props. I am going to take the Buccaneers plus the 6.5. I think they covered this. I'm hoping the Lions win by 3 for my buddy Jerry. But I am going to go under in this game. I think this is, and unders tend to favor the dog. I'm going to go under 49.5. If you look at every Tampa Bay game throughout the year, this would exceed the game total in every game by at least 3 to 4 points. It's a bit inflated coming off of the Philly game, but the Philly defense was both injured and playing bad. I think you're going to see a lot of what you saw last week. 23-24, 27-21, even 28-21 gets a push. I'm going under 49 points in the Lions-Buccaneers game. And final game of week divisional round. I almost said like week 20. Final game of the divisional round. I'm going to go Buffalo Bills minus 2.5 at home against the Chiefs. I don't believe in being due. It's like walking by a roulette wheel in Vegas and seeing 7 reds in a row and saying, well, blacks do. No, it's still depends on what kind of wheel you have, a 1, 2, or 3 green. It's a 48-52 proposition. And it's because every spin's independent of the previous. Same thing with the Bills game. I just think the Bills at home, it's time to win this game. If not, we have to reevaluate how we look at Josh Allen and the Bills. But the one thing that I heard this week that was really a mind-blowing stat, and I'll ask you and I'll give you a chance, how many wins against playoff teams does Kansas City have this year, both home and on the road? It's 2. And both of them were the Miami Dolphins. Every other team that made the playoffs in 2023 and played the Kansas City Chiefs in the regular season, the only wins they had against the team that made the playoffs was Miami twice. And the first game against Miami was closer than the playoff game due to the weather. So I'm going to take Buffalo. They get it done. I'll be rooting for Buffalo next week, depending on who they play. But those are my 5 picks. I had 4 totals, and I had 4 sides to pick from. So pickings get slim when you're doing these contests. I hope you got in there with me. I'll review them real quick before we go into player props. I got the Texans and the Ravens over 43.5. I got the Niners laying 9.5. I got the Buccaneers plus 6.5. I have the Lions and Buccaneers under 49, and I have the Buffalo Bills minus 2.5 against the Chiefs. Going to get into the playoff props. Easy for me to say. But of course, those are always brought to you by Underdog.
It has been 2 years since Josh Larkey paved the way for fantasy gamers to start expecting positive returns from pick'em games, specifically Underdog pick'ems. And how do you do it? Well, you look at a slate and you find a great shootout or a sneaky shootout. You also look for a shit show game. 3, 4, 5, 6 guys in one game. That's right. You can do it. You can do it. And you can 100x your payout on Underdog. Think about week 1. Jets-Bills was a shit show. Did we see the Aaron Rodgers injury coming? No, but we knew the Jets have a good defense. We knew the Bills have a good defense. Why not expect the worst? And the worst is what we got. So if you had gone Dalvin Cook less than, Garrett Wilson less than, Aaron Rodgers less than, Josh Allen less than, Gabriel Davis less than, boom, 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 you can go 6 for 6. Same thing in week 2. Oh, week 2. Oh, sneaky shootout there in Philadelphia. Minnesota's going to be in comeback mode, so we'll go Cousins, Jefferson, Hawkinson, more than, Madison, less than, but also Swift, more than. Boom, 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 boom. That's how you do it with the Underdog Pick'ems, and you use promo code Underworld to get a 100% instant deposit match up to $100. You put in $100, Underdog matches that deposit up to $100 with promo code Underworld. Go start picking.
Yep, big shout out to Underdog. They have been with us the entire season, and if you're looking for player props, there's a great place to do it. If you're able, in the state or country in which you reside, Underdog. Again, if you're new and you've never tried Underdog, please use that promo code Underworld. Again, lets them know that we sent you. Last week was hot with the picks against the spread, not so hot with my bets on props. I went 2-4, one of which technically I'd like a redo on because of the venue change, but we'll jump in. I had Nico Collins under 5.5 receptions. He had 6. That was a loss. I was surprised they continued to throw the ball as big as they were up in the second half, but one more reception than I could handle with that number, and that was a loss. I had Isiah Pacheco over 19.5 receiving yards. He only had one catch. The part that was baffling is I think I had the right read on the weather and the situation, his previous usage. What I did not calculate or predict was Rashee Rice getting 12 targets in one of the coldest games in NFL history. That was a little baffling, but that was a loss. And then the third game, this is the one that I would like, I guess, a redo on, but the show was out. I put it out there, so I 100% own it. I had Najee Harris over 15.5 rush attempts. He had 13, I believe, but the venue got moved. I guess the venue didn't get moved. The venue was the same, but they moved the day because of the weather. I was counting on this being a snow game, allowing the Pittsburgh Steelers to keep it close, allowing Najee to be more involved in the rushing game. Didn't end up that way, but that's the break sometimes. I do know that historically in the past, if you had action like that, they would void that, and you would have had to have rebet your bets for the Buffalo Steelers game again. This year, from what I heard and what I've seen online, they kept that as live action. So make sure you always look at those type of things. If they move venue, if they move date, if they move time, sometimes that voids your bets. Sometimes the bets keep going. It's independent, book to book to book. So I'm taking that one as a loss. I had Dak over 1.5 passing touchdowns. That was a win. It was a sweat. He ended up with 3, but for the longest time he had 1. And they do not let you count the ones that he throws to the other team, as much as I would like it. If you add those in, he technically had 5. Threw 2 to the Packers, 3 to the Cowboys, still enough for a win. I had Jahmyr Gibbs over 3.5 receptions. That was a win. That was a pretty easy win. He had 3 in the first half and then got his 4th early in the second half. So that one was easy. And then Monday Night Football in a game script that I did not predict or expect. I had DeAndre Swift over 60.5 rushing yards. This is sometimes you go against yourself and it costs you. I was not anti, but I was not pro DeAndre Swift when he went to the Philadelphia Eagles in the trade back during the NFL draft. And I was just like, I just don't see them using him a bunch. You got, Gainwell, Boston Scott sometimes. Obviously, Jalen Hurts runs the ball. And I backed him in this spot. It was a good spot, but that was a loss. So finished 2-4 on the week. Brings me up to 6 units, I guess down from 8 to 6 units positive on the year. I have got 8. I've got 4 bets and 4 leans for the weekend, but I'm going to do it in a bit of an interesting configuration because this week is full of love and hate. There are some of these that I absolutely love, and there are some of these games that I absolutely hate and couldn't find props that I liked at all. I wasn't going to force it, but I will pull those up so we can watch these if you're watching live on YouTube with me this morning. So, all right, first one, this is a lean. This is a lean for the Baltimore and Houston game. I am going, and I would actually consider this a bet. You know what? It's a bet. Putting it on the official record. Isaiah Likely over 36.5 receiving yards, -120 at DraftKings. Now, normally I like to share, if they're good, I like to share the numbers from BetMGM Grand. That's a partner of us here at Player Profiler. Promo code Underworld, by the way, get you a little deposit match bonus. But they did not have an Isaiah Likely yardage prop up. They had receptions. They did not have receiving yards. But with Mark Andrews not likely to play as of 7 a.m. on Saturday morning, I'm going Isaiah Likely over 36.5 receiving yards. If for some reason Andrews plays, I would revert this to a lean. I don't think he does, so it's one of my bets. And then second one of the day, back to BetMGM Grand. I'm going CJ Stroud over 21.5 completions, +100. This is a number he gets there more than not. I think it was 13 out of 17 games this season, 13 out of 16. I think he missed 2 with a concussion. This was easy. I was looking at his pass attempts, and the gap between his attempts and his completions was off. And this is an even money bet. So you bet 100, you win 100. You bet $1, you win $1. Whatever terminology makes the most sense to you. But I'm going to go C.J. Stroud over 21.5 completions. And this makes sense. It goes along. I'm taking the over in this game. So I'm going to go over 21.5 completions for C.J. Stroud. So we're going likely over. Receiving yards, 36.5. We're going Stroud over 21.5 completions. Saturday night, I hated this game. I did not like the props. Maybe other people out in the industry do. I couldn't find any that I like. First one I'm going to go Jordan Love over 249.5 passing yards. I mentioned earlier, this correlates to my pick on the game. I've got the Niners minus 9.5. Well, if you're losing by double digits, you're going to be passing the ball. Passing attempts was high. I think it was 37.5. I didn't want to go quite that crazy, but just about all the receiving options are healthy. And because they're healthy, that was part of my struggle with finding receiver and yardage props with the receiving group. But they've got Musgrave back. They've got Kraft. Watson should play. Reed, Dobbs, Devontae Wicks. Just a lot of options. So I don't know where Jordan Love will dial in, but I like his yardage prop because all the weapons are healthy and should be playing. But then I am going to go Jordan Love as my lean in this game. I'm going to go Jordan Love to throw an interception. It's very juiced. It's minus $1.85, but I'm going to do it. San Francisco was tied for the league lead in interceptions with 22, and Jordan Love had 11 interceptions on the season. The probability that he throws against one, whether it's a tip ball or just a bad decision by him, I like it. Probably wouldn't take this if it was at Green Bay, but on the road, weather, there's potential for some wind and rain. So I'm going to go Jordan Love to throw one INT as my lean. Let's go to Sunday, the Lions and the Buccaneers. I'm going to start with my bet. I'm going Jahmyr Gibbs over 23.5 passing yards. We saw his involvement in the passing game last week, 4 for 42. I think that's the key to success. I think Laporta's going to play, obviously played last week, still a little banged up. You've got Amon-Ra St. Brown, and then it's Jahmyr Gibbs. And if Jahmyr Gibbs is the second option in this passing game, he should smoke this number. This one should be easy for him. And I'm going to take Jahmyr Gibbs over 23.5 receiving yards. And then my lean in this game, I'm going to take Trey Palmer over 1.5 receptions. Now it's 2-1. For every $2 you bet, you win $1. So you bet $2, you get paid $3 back. Your initial $2 and $1 win. Heavy on the juice, but I'm going to take Trey Palmer over 2.5 receptions. It's a number he's hit in 13 of 18 games this year. And you're seeing him used a little bit more and more. He's a great buy in Dynasty if you play Dynasty fantasy football. But that's my lean in this game. This is the other game that I didn't really find a lot that I love. Jahmyr Gibbs has been very good to me, so that was an easy one. But I'm going to go lean Trey Palmer over 1.5 receptions. Let's go to Sunday night, game of the week. And this is kind of like the first game. I really like the action on this game. I'm going to go my official bet. I'm going to go Khalil Shakur over 2.5 receptions. Now it's minus $1.60, but this is a number that he's hit several times in the last recent weeks. And I want to give attribution. I want to attribute this to Jordan McNamara of the McNamara Dynasty. He's a Dynasty creator, and he was putting this out there from a Dynasty fantasy football content sort of thing. It was on Twitter, but he was talking about the usage of Khalil Shakur versus Stephon Diggs over the last 6 or 8 weeks, whatever it was. And then I dug in and I'm like, holy cow, they are using this guy a ton. Don't know if Gabe Davis plays. Last I heard, he was questionable with that. I think it's a PCL or an MCL strain in his knee. I think this guy's going to get some run. And that leads me to my other one. And that I'm going to make this one a bet as well. I'm going to go Josh Allen over 226 passing yards. I mean, it's the Chiefs and the Bills. I know both of those offenses have not been great this year, especially Kansas City. But I think there's like certain teams, when they lock it up, you're going to get points. And Josh Allen's going to throw a little bit more. Seems like a super low number. When you think of quote unquote superstar quarterbacks in the league, you would think 226. I think it may be the lowest in the playoffs this week, outside of maybe Lamar. I didn't double check Lamar's, but I know it's low because I've looked at Baker, I looked at Goff, I looked at Purdy, I looked at Love. Obviously, got a bet on Love. So it's one of the lower ones. Of the 8 passing props for the week, this is either the lowest or the second to lowest. I'm going to take it. We'll take Josh Allen over 226.5. And that's a show. Would really super appreciate you supporting our sponsors. Bet Openly, and of course, Underdog. I'm going to do this 2 more times, gang. I'm going to do this next week with the NFC AFC Championship game, and we're going to do it for the Super Bowl. Then we'll figure out what gambling content looks like here at Player Profiler going forward. But I am right now, as long as my partner's committed, I'm committed. We're going to do a Survivor show. It may be a vlog. It probably won't be a podcast, but it'll be something that if that interests you as much as it interests me, subscribe. Player Profiler YouTube, Dynasty Warzone YouTube. It's Saturday morning. You're getting this podcast Saturday afternoon. I hope you get some good action and go out and enjoy the games. Have a great weekend, everybody. See you.
Hey, I want to take a moment to thank you for tuning in. It's important to me that all of our media be free. This is only possible because of you allowing a true independent sports media enterprise to thrive unlike any other in the business. So please subscribe to the All-In Package to continue to make all of this possible, to ensure that all of our stats, information, data, content is available to you, especially you, the people that get the site and get the show.